Hey, this is Pat, and today we're checking out the all-new LS2 Centric Helmet. Now, the LS2 Centric Helmet is a pretty trick helmet because it's going to come in 3 different options. One that comes with a dark smoke shield, one that comes with a silver shield, as well as one that comes with a photochromatic shield. So you can kind of pick and choose exactly which one's right for you, depending on how much you want to spend built into it. But I love that they're giving options to the customers out there, all for a pretty sweet looking street helmet. Because when you're looking at it on here, it's going to be something ideal for the street riding use, upright, maybe 3/4 riding position, or even V-twin. I can see someone in a little bit more of a relaxed position wearing this, all for sub $200 if you're just looking at the stock ones out of the box. So when you look at this helmet, again, I think it screams to a lot of street riders, a lot of sport touring riders, even the cruiser rider market, with just some classic styles, some smooth aerodynamics, and a lot of features built into it that some riders might be looking for. I mentioned that it comes in three different options out there. If you are looking at the standard version, it's $170. That's going to include a dark smoke shield as well as a clear shield in the box. They also have a $190 version that's going to come with a silver shield as well as a clear shield in the box. And then I have the version in front of me, which is the $300 version, which comes with a photochromatic shield included out of the box. So it's going to transition when you're out in the sun. It's going to go to a dark smoke, and when you're riding at night, it's going to go back to clear, so you don't have to carry around a second shield with you throughout the day. And they're going to be pin lock ready, although the pin lock insert is sold separately. So $170, $190, or $300, depending on what you want to spend. If you just want the standard shields, you can easily go with those under $200 options, or bump up if you are someone who's commuting and wants the options out there. So I really like what LS2 is doing, giving an option helmet out there that gives customers the option to really pick and choose the style they want a la carte. When you're looking at the shell itself, it is a thermoplastic main construction for the entire shell. It's going to come in 3 shell sizes: extra small to small, medium and large, and then extra large up to 3 extra large are going to be the final shell size. So 3 shell sizes sub $200 is usually what we're looking for. DOT and ECE 2206 safety rated, so it does get the ECE safety certification that most of us riders are looking for. And it comes in at 3 pounds 4 ounces in a size large, that middle shell size, which is relatively light. Just holding this in my hand, it's one of the lighter full face helmets we have reviewed in a while. Again, I love when brands aim for that sub 3 pound, let's call it 5 marker, 3 pounds 5 ounces. Anything under that is a solid win in the weight category, which this one definitely hits. Again, under the $200 price point for the standard version is pretty solid there. As far as the fit, it's intermediate oval, so a little bit longer front to back than it is side to side, perfect for the US market. That's what most riders out there are, and it runs true to size. So I wear a medium in almost every single helmet that has ever been made. Size medium fits me spot on. So just take your head measurement, reference a size chart, and you should be all set. Taking a look at the helmet, again, I mentioned the shell, really like neutral overall shell design. There's a couple detents just to allow airflow back, and there's a spoiler built into the rear of the helmet just to help stabilize it at higher highway speeds. So again, something you see from helmets north of that $300 marker that I like that LS2 is putting into their sub $200 helmet, or like I said, under $300 if you're going for the photochromatic, but that's really just the shield that you're buying into for that one. You get vent down at the chin, as well as 2 vents up at the top. One thing I will say is while you can open and close this this chin vent down here, that does go straight to the face shield. It doesn't go right to the chin or the face to cool you off. So if you are looking for a little bit more airflow, you can always just pop open the shield and get a little bit more on there. But you do get vents up at the top, which are fairly easy to find with a gloved hand. Takes a little bit of practice, but you do get a little bit of open and closability if you are riding in the colder months. You can turn off that ventilation. At the back, though, you get 4 passive exhaust vents. So 2 are built into the spoiler up there, and you're actually not even going to see the other 2, but calling it out down here, I wanted to point that out because it is built into the neck roll to help all that air coming out of the helmet really exhaust out of the back. So you do get 2 exhaust ports built into there, and I wanted to call that out just because I think that's a solid feature on there. But again, I think they did a tasteful design with the spoiler, the overall shell design. One thing I'll call out though, the face shield that does come with it, like I said, has a central opening tab on here, but there are no detents running up and down the entire shield. I usually look for a helmet that at least has like a lower detent just to keep it in place, or even one halfway up if I'm riding through traffic, but you just get 2 points. It's open and then it's fully closed. There's no city position, there's no mid ground for the detents or anything. So LS2, if you are listening, I'd love to see an update to this that just gives you the detents going through for everyday use. As riders out there, you'd be surprised how often that really comes in handy. Overall though, the shield mechanism on the side is really nice. It provides a tight seal. It actually pulls the shield in when you close it, and the gasket seal around there is pretty decent. I wouldn't call it the best one I've seen, but for sub $200 for the shell itself, I think they did a pretty solid job in just sealing out the elements when you're riding down and when you do physically close it down into that closed position. Looking at the interior of the helmet and sliding to the interior, one thing I want to call out is you do get a micro ratchet system, so it's not a double D-ring, so it is a micro ratchet system. You do have a removable chin skirt. I'll just pop that out. It's just mesh, a pretty simple one on there. And then there's also a neck roll that easily slides out. And that's where that ventilation point at the back, again, it's mesh there, and then the ventilation is actually built into the rim of the shell itself just to allow that air to flow through, but adding the mesh into the neck roll helps the air actually escape out. So I'll just take out the cheek pads and we can take a look at the interior of the helmet. Pretty standard cheek pads, nice contour to it. It's gonna be extremely comfortable. It is moisture wicking, it is antimicrobial, so it's gonna be something that allows you to cool off a little bit easier in the summer months of riding. Get this other side out here. And then we can get this neck roll out. One thing I will say is there's no pressure points at the back. It's gonna be something that usually you see snaps at the back of a helmet to keep that in place. This is actually just built into the liner with a slip liner. A little bit harder to get in and out, but you also get that at the brow vent, so there's no snaps at the forehead. Pretty basic top liner. Again, I think more reflective of the price than anything else we've seen with this helmet, just how light and simple they've done it, just sewing the materials together, but it is mesh. It is gonna allow airflow throughout the channels of the interior of the helmet, which I'll get you a shot of here. You do have speaker pockets. You can easily fit 45mm speakers inside of there. There will be an LS2 comm system coming out that will install into the helmet by removing out some EPS. That's actually where the battery and the antenna will go. But you can easily add a Sena or a Cardo in here if you just want to add something with 45mm speakers. If you already own your own Bluetooth system, you can easily add it in there. And you can really see the channels in the EPS running from the front to the back, just allowing that airflow to go from the front and exit out the back of the helmet. So all in, when you're sub $200, getting shield options, getting something that has DOT and ECE 2206 as well as 3 shell sizes. It is only thermoplastic, so it's a plastic shell. Composite would have probably put it up north of the $300 price point just for the standard version alone before you get into the photochromatic. So again, I think LS2 is really punching above its weight for what they're giving. I think this really puts terror in the eyes of a lot of its competitions under the $200 price point, because a lot of those are thermoplastic, maybe with 1 shell or 2 shell, or you're not getting the ECE 2206. So I like that LS2 is including a dark smoke shield and all of those other features, as well as a silver option, as well as the photochromatic that I have here today if you want it. But if you still have questions on the LS2 Centric, click that info button. That's going to take you over to the product page where you can read other rider reviews. Don't just take my word for it. Do your own research on that. And you still have questions after that, if you're trying to figure out which LS2 model is right for you, or which face shield option is right for you, or just figure out sizing, give our customer service agents a call. They're all riders, happy to help you get set up for your next ride. I want to thank you for joining me and checking out the all-new LS2 Centric helmet. I'm Pat. I'll see you in the next video.